Good morning and Jai Hind children. I welcome you all in today's live class of chemistry. Children, in previous class, we have completed the chapter acids, bases and salts. Is it? And I also started the next chapter, that is soil. And I have explained you about the process of formation of soil. So I hope that you understood the topic formation of soil. Now, today I'm going to start the next topic of the chapter, and the topic is soil profile. So, children, have you ever seen a deep hole in the ground, such as that dug up for laying the foundation of a building? So, you may have noticed that soil changes color as one goes deeper. Is it? So, the size of the bits of rocks changes too, and the main layers of the soil are topsoil, subsoil, and the parent rock. Alright, children? So, the soil have different layers, and the name of these layers are, yes, the first layer is topsoil, second layer is subsoil, the third layer is, yes, it is known as parent rock. Get it? And I'm going to draw the diagram of this soil profile. If we dug the ground, so inside that we can found the different layers of the soil that are different to each other. So the upper layer, in which the roots of the plants are present. So children, this is the first layer of the soil, and this is known as topsoil. So this layer is known as topsoil. Alright. And this top soil is also known as horizon A. Understood, children? So this topsoil or A horizon is rich in humus and the smallest particles of the rocks from the upper layer of the soil, and this is called the topsoil or A horizon. The presence of humus in this layer gives it a black dark color, and it is the layer containing the most nutrients for plants. The roots of the most plants are confined to this layer. Okay? And the humus which is present here makes the layer porous and fertile. So that is why this layer is fertile layer in which the plants grow because of the presence of humus. Understood, children? Now after the topsoil, the second layer is subsoil. And this subsoil is also known as B horizon. Get it? So below the topsoil, second horizon is there, and this horizon is known as B horizon or subsoil. And this is the layer below the topsoil. And this subsoil does not have much humus and is therefore lighter in color than topsoil. Alright, children, the topsoil is dark in color because of the presence of humus, whereas this subsoil, due to the absence of humus or less amount of humus, the color is light than topsoil. It is made up of mostly rocks, bits, and some nutrients such as soluble minerals and iron oxides. Okay? And the rainwater collects in this layer. Understood, children? About the subsoil. This is horizon B. Now, after the horizon B, the next horizon is there, and that is known as horizon C or parent rock. So this one is the third layer of the soil, which is known as parent rock or C horizon. Understood? This horizon is present below the subsoil and the parent rock or C horizon, which consists of small pieces of rocks. See that? It consists of small pieces of rocks with cracks and crevices. They have the cracks, spaces between them and the crevices. Get it? The particles of the rocks found in some soil come for weathered rock in the horizon C. Get it? The rock which is present in horizon C, because of the weathering of this rock, the formation of soil takes place. Get it? And below this parent rock, yes, this is solid rock which is called bedrock, and it is non-porous, and the rainwater gathers over it to form the water table. Understood? So below the parent rock, bedrock is there. This is bedrock. Okay? So below the parent rock, bedrock is there. And it is non-porous. Children, the difference between parent rock and bedrock is, yes, the parent rock is porous, that they have the spaces, but the bedrock is non-porous. Okay, and the rainwater, it gathers over it. Okay, and forms the water table. Alright, so these are the different layers of soil. The first layer, topsoil, second layer, subsoil, third, that parent rock, and below the parent rock, bedrock is there. Get it? So I hope that you understood the soil profile. So these all layers of soil together known as soil profile. Understood, children? Now, come to the next topic, that is types of soil. The topsoil, which we have seen in soil profile, This topsoil has bits of rocks and humus in it. However, not all topsoil from different places have different colors and rock particles of different sizes. Okay, so the difference in color and size occurs because the soil come from different kind of rocks, and the minerals present in the rocks give them different colors. Okay, also some kind of rocks break into very small particles, whereas other breaks into large particles. Understood, children? So the different types of rocks breaks and forms the different size of particles, and the minerals which are present in them, they also provide them the different colors. Okay, so because of the difference of the size of soil particles and the colors due to the presence of different minerals, the soil can be categorized in three main kinds. Okay, so the three main kinds of rock particles can be found in topsoil. Get it? And they look and feel different. And these three kind of rock particles are: the first one, clay; second one, silt; the third one, sand. Alright, children. Now, come one by one about these rock particles. So the clay, this one is the first kind of rock particle which has the smallest size of particles, which is less than 0.002 millimeter in diameter. Alright, so here the size of particle is less than 0.002 millimeter in diameter. Alright, children. In fact, you cannot see a single clay particle because of very small size. You cannot see a single clay particle, and this clay feels smooth because of its small particle size. Okay. Now come to the second one, silt. It has particles larger than clay. Understood? And the size of the, yes, silt particle is about 0. It's between 0.002 millimeter to, yes, 0.2 millimeter. So the size of silt particles, yes, where are between 0.002 millimeters to 0.2 millimeters. Get it? And therefore, it is not so smooth because of the size of the rock particles are somewhat larger than clay particles. So it's not smooth, and it can be found, for example, in a river bed. So we can see very clearly the silt particles. Where? Yes, in a river bed. Understood? Now come to the third particles, and it is known as sand. The sand has the largest sized particles which can easily be seen. Okay, and you must have seen that. And the diameter of the sand particle is greater than 0.2 millimeter. Greater than 0.2 millimeter in diameter. Get it? And because of large size of the particles, they are coarse to touch. They are not smooth like clay and silt. They are coarse. Alright, children? Now, in addition to these, topsoil also has small stones which are called gravel. What they are called, children? They are called gravel. Okay, and the topsoil in a particular geographical area may contain only one kind of rock particles or a mixture of two or three types. Okay, so it depends on geographical area. Now, the sandy soil, which has a lot of sand in it and very little silt and clay. So, on the basis of presence of these particles, we can categorize the soil as the first one, sandy soil. The first one is sandy soil, and this sandy soil has a lot of sand in it and very little silt and clay. Alright, children. And this sandy soil is found, for example, in deserts. Okay? And it can hold air but cannot hold much water, as the water drains quickly through large spaces which are present between the sand particles. Understood, children, about the sand particles? Now, come to the next, the clay soil. The next kind of soil is clay soil. And this clay soil mostly contains clay. The water drains through very slowly since the particles are very small and tightly packed. Okay, and this type of soil is not able to trap enough air for the roots of plants. Got it? Because of the presence of very small particles of soil, more air not trapped in it, but it can hold water. Okay, now the best topsoil for growing plant is loam. So loam is a mixture of sand, silt and clay, and it also has humus in it. Get it? And it has the right water holding capacity for plant growth. It also has adequate space between the soil particles to trap air which are required by the roots of plants. So we can say that the best soil is loamy soil, because this loamy soil, yes, is a mixture of sand, silt, and clay, and humus also present in it. And because of the presence of the mixture of all the different types of particles, it is good for the growth of plant. Okay, because it has the right water holding capacity. Understood, children? Now, we can understood about the texture of the soil with the help of an activity. And for this activity, simply, yes, what you have to do, you have to collect the different types of soil. For example, this soil texture, it is used to describe the proportion of the three constituents that make up soil, sand, silt and clay. Get it? So what are the three constituents of the soil? It is first one sand, second silt and third clay. Got it? So to identify the soil texture, what we have to do? Yes, we will squeeze some soil in our hand and then rub the soil between your fingers. So while doing this, while rubbing the fingers, what you will feel? You will feel different in different types of soil. In sandy soil, you feel gritty and loose. It does not form a ball and falls apart when rubbed between your fingers. And you know why? Because the particle size is large. Okay? In loamy soil, you feel smooth and partially gritty and sticky and forms a ball that crumbles easily. And the reason for this? Because the loam soil is a mixture of sand, silt, and clay. Get it? Whereas when we feel clay soil, so we feel smooth and sticky, and it forms ribbons when pressed between fingers. Okay, children? And the clay soil requires more pressure to form a ball than loam soil, but it does not crumble apart as easily. And that is why it is the most suitable for making pots and statues. So the potters use clay soil for making different pots and statues also. Okay, so with the help of this simple activity, I hope that you understood about soil texture. Because of the presence of different size particles, they feel different and they give different texture. Okay, now the particles of different sizes in the soil separate out to form different layers in the beaker, and at the bottom will be a layer of gravel which has the heaviest particles. Okay, and above this will be a layer of sand and then a layer of silt. Got it? So the top layer consists of clay, the humus being lighter, and then water, and which floats on the water. Get it? So you can understood about the different texture of the soil with the help of this diagram. So the upper layer is humus. Below the humus, these are clay particles. And below the clay, this dark layer is silt. Below the silt, we have the sand and then gravel. Understood, children? So these different layers indicates that yes, the different components are the constituents, okay, of different solid components which are present in soil. Get it? So the particles which are different in size in soil, they separate out to form the different layers. So these different layers are formed because of the different size of the soil particles. Get it? And at the bottom will be the layer of gravel because the size of the gravel particles are larger than other particles. Okay, and these gravel are heaviest particles. Above the gravel, yes, it is the layer of sand, and above the sand, the layer of silt. Understood, children? And the top layer consists of clay. Get it? And the humus is floating above the Yes, the clay layer, because it is lighter than water. So humus floats on water because it is lighter than water. Get it? So by noting the depth of the different layers, you can find out the relative proportion of each in the soil. Get it, children? So I hope that you understood this. Yes. Diagram in which we have shown that the proportion of solid component in a soil sample. So in this diagram, it's going to show that the proportion of solid components in, yes, in a sample of soil. Get it, children? And for doing this, we have to do simply just dig up a handful of garden soil and place it in a beaker. Okay, and add about 500 ml of water and then shake the beaker for a little while. And after shaking it, allow the soil to settle down. And after that, you will notice the different layer of soil present in that beaker. Okay, get it? So I hope that you understood the different types of soil. Okay, and now perform the same experiment with soil samples taken from different places, from the playground, riverbank, forest, wasteland, etc., and study the proportion of solid components in them. So, when we collect the samples of soil from different places, so the solid components like gravel, sand, silt, clay, and humus will vary from place to place. Okay, their proportion are different because of the presence of different, yes, soil are different particles in different places are vary. Some places the amount of humus is more, some places it is less. Some places the clay will be more whereas the silt will be less. So these particles will vary from place to place and we can understood simply by performing this activity. Got it, children? Now come to the next. Children, do you know that a river is continually picking up and dropping solid particles? Okay, you must have seen the rivers through which, yes, what happened? The particles of soil or rocks are going to picked up by them and dropping by them. Okay, and the soil from its bed throughout its journey as the river flow, so throughout the whole journey there is picking up and dropping the solid particles of rocks occurs. Where the river flow is fast, as in mountains, more particles are picked up then dropped. Get it? Where the more particles are picked up then dropped, the places where river flows fast like mountains, and where the river flow is slow as in plains, so more particles are dropped than picked up. Get it, the difference? The places where river flow is fast, yes, what happens there? More particles are picked up then dropped, and the places where the river flow is slow like in plains, so more particles are dropped then picked up, and these dropped particles are called alluvium, and they make up the alluvial soil. Which soil, children? Alluvial soil. So how alluvial soil made? Because of picking up and dropping up of the rock particles by the flow of river. They forms the alluvial soil. And this type of soil consists of a mixture of clay, sand and silt and is therefore loamy in texture. Get it? So we can say that the alluvial soil is having all three particles, that is clay particle, sand particle and silt particle. So the texture is loamy and it is very fertile and especially good for the growth of some, yes, crops like wheat, rice and sugarcane. Get it? And this alluvial soil makes the endogangetic plains very fertile. Due to that, this region is fertile region because of the presence of which kind of soil? Yes, because of the presence of alluvial soil. Get it, children? About the alluvial soil. Okay. So I hope that you understood today's topic. Thank you and have a nice day, children.